Hey there, watch lovers. Laz here with Watch Life. This time with a review on a pilot watch. This is the Steeldive 1940. This is a pilot watch from Steeldive. A lot to be said about this watch. Stay tuned for this one. All right, so we'll kick it off here with the specs. For the movement, we have the NH35. As far as the case materials, you have the 316L stainless steel, which is a common, it's pretty common in the industry. For the glass on here, you have a sapphire crystal with AR coating. And we'll touch a little bit more about that in terms of that AR coating and the price range of this watch and how that's not a common thing you would find in a watch in this price range. Water resistant of 200 meters. Once again, that's not something that's very common for pilot watches because of course they're not intended to be taken into the water. But nice touch on Steeldive's part. As far as the lume, we have Swiss C3 green lume, which is, again, in that price range of which this watch is, and I'm emphasizing a lot about the price because when I touch on that, it's going to be kind of hard to understand how Steeldive is able to do this and add all these premium materials and features at that price range. We have a screw down crown, which of course is going to add to that 200 meters of water resistant with a screw down back. The dimensions. So this is a 39 millimeter watch. Or the case is a 39 millimeters without the crown. So with the crown, it's about 40.5 millimeters. We have a case thickness of 12 millimeters. That's fairly thin, all things considered. Being that this movement, of course, has a date complication. We have a case length. So from lug to lug, we're looking at 49 millimeters. Again, very wearable watch, not that big. Has a very, very subtle profile on the wrist, and in my opinion, wears amazing. I just love the way this watch wears. Lug width. So we're looking at 20 millimeters lug width, which is going to be fairly easy to find straps to this watch. I currently have this on a Barton strap. This is their silicone strap with quick release. Just looks amazing there. If you can see if I can get this here to zoom in. Or get this here to focus. So, don't know if you can make that out there. See if I can get some lighting on that. Of course. See if you can see that there. All right. So again, have this on a Barton strap. And that 20 mil lug to lug, or the lug width at 20 mils, I think is a sweet spot. It's a very, very easy to find straps for this. I'm not a fan of when companies do 21 millimeters, 22 millimeters. Keep it simple. 20 mil lug width is perfect for any watch. Granted, when you start to get up into the 45s and 46 millimeter watches, which I don't wear, then yes, I agree. You may have to make that lug width a little bit wider so that it looks better with the watch. But yeah, so I'll give you guys some close-ups here about this of this watch here, of the dial. Give you some close-ups of that back, and then I'll also give you guys some wrist shots. Overall, my opinion on this watch, aesthetic-wise, its execution in terms of the construction of this watch. I think Steeldive did a fantastic job here. At the price of which you can pick this timepiece up, there are some quartz watches from companies like Timex that, just be quite frank with you, does not match up to this. And this is offering you an automatic movement, amazing aesthetics, beautiful lume, a well-executed dial. For the price that they do, it's kind of hard to understand how they do that, right? I think this is all going to come down to the mass production and how many of these watches they're making a year. And that's how they're able to reduce their cost in terms of the production of this watch. Now, I know San Martin has It's kind of, San Martin is kind of like the Steeldive, but the more premium side, right? So they put out more premium watches. Now their prices do match, so you'll see an increase, a substantial increase in their prices. So their Pilot watch, which is similar to this one, almost looked like it came out of the same factory with some, with obviously some more attention to detail. Those are gonna fetch anywhere between 170 to 180 bucks. Where Steeldive is offering this particular timepiece at under $100. So typically about 90, 99 bucks, something like that, plus an additional 20 bucks in shipping. So you're looking at about 120 for this timepiece. Where the compromising begins with Steeldive, it seems to be their straps, their bracelets. They don't, you know, that seems to be where they're cutting back on to be able to reduce the prices of these watches, and I'm all for that. If you are going to cut back on something to be able to give us a more affordable timepiece, I would say do it with the strap, because that's something that can always be replaced, and it can be replaced at a not that much, you know, 20, 15 bucks. You can get a decent strap, decent bracelet. So I'm glad that they cut back on that and not anything else, such as the movement, the crystal, or even the Lum, which is something that we see quite often with Pagani design. Now, I do have my eye on another Pagani design, which is the 2020 iteration that apparently fixed a lot of the issues that I had with their previous lineup, which was the bezel, the Lum. We'll see when we get that in hand. Now, I do have, this is my second watch from Steeldive, and the second watch that I review on the channel. If you haven't already watched the previous one, which is actually doing pretty well, I'm going to link that up on the video here. But yeah, moving on. All right, guys, so here we have the SD1940 from Steeldive. This is the Pilot watch. Just figured I'd give you guys a close-up here. So, of course, you have the iconic logo here from Steeldive that no one knows what the hell it is. This one, you know, I'm confused because normally, so it's a little bit confusing here. On the side, they have their traditional logo, which I believe is scuba diving gear. But on the back, it changes, which I do know that Steeldive has different logos for the different lineups, but you know, I just don't understand why the crown has the logo of their divers, and then the back screw down plate has the logo of their Pilot watches. So a little bit confusing there, but anyways, you have a little bit of the specs on this engraved here on the back of this case, or the back of this screw down back. Of course, the movement, the NH35. No clue why it says dive 200 meters. I guess water resistant is really what they were trying to emphasize on. But anyways, it's kind of something that happens with these micro brands like Steeldive and Pagani and so on and so forth. Anyway, of course, here you can see the AR coating that's on this crystal here, which I think Steeldive did a fantastic job with. I think it looks really good, that blue hue that you get. Kind of a blue purplish hue. And to be honest with you, this has some very good viewing angles. When I'm outside in the sun, I have no problems viewing this, not too much glare. I do wish they would have done something with the chapter ring. You know, it just kind of looks cheap when there's no chapter ring, and then all you got is that big old gap there from the dial up to the crystal. But nonetheless, I feel like they did a very good job executing here with the logo on the dial. It's very clean, that matte finish. It's more of a printed indices instead of the applied indices, which for these Pilot watches I think is appropriate. You know, it took me a while to have this grow on me. If you look here at the, and sorry about the noise, guys, they're actually cutting the lawn right now, or mowing the lawn. Anyways, if you look at the minute hand, you know, or the hour hand, I'm sorry. I'm not a big fan of that chopped off hour hand like that, but it's growing on me. It makes sense. You know, you want the hours to show. So that hour hand stops right on the outside of every hour marker. So I get it. It's practical. You know, all the other hands, very well executed. The second hand has a nice finish to it, highly polished. Yeah. I think overall, one thing I would have liked to have seen Steeldive do was maybe go with a color matching date. And like I said, they're mowing the lawn. So, I wish that date window would have had, or that date wheel would have been color matched to the dial. That would have been very, very nice. Would have been a very nice touch on Steeldive's part. As far as the printing, everything is done very, very nicely on this dial. I have no complaints there. The finish on the case, I think Steeldive did a fantastic job here with the finish. Very nice brush finish. I've been wearing this watch for roughly about, I want to say, I'm going to go and say about a week now. And I'm very, very, very impressed with what Steeldive has done here. With my previous Steeldive, one of the complaints I had with the movement was the movement being calibrated properly, and it seems like most of these micro brands don't really calibrate these NH35s. They just smack them into the watches per the way they come from the factory, and it seems like this one was one of the good batches. And the watch that I'm referring to is this one. This is the one that I had a little bit of a complaint with the movement. So this was from my previous review. I put it on a different strap, and just love the way that looks on that strap. Anyways, so this watch, this movement, the NH35 that's in here, seem to have been calibrated very, very accurately. I'm getting about -3 to +5 to 6 seconds a day, which I think is very, very, very nicely tuned. No complaints there. As far as the strap that this came with, I actually took that strap off and I put it on this watch, which I also have a review on. This is the Invicta 1953. So yeah, this strap, just so you guys know, this is not a very good strap at all. This seems to be some of sort. The stitching and everything is very nice on it, and it's not too stiff. It has a nice thickness to it, but it's a pretty bad strap. It feels like fake leather, so that's why I said it's some kind of synthetic leather that I am not a fan of. I really would rather them just throw this watch, this Pilot watch, on a rubber strap, just like this. Another thing too. This time I actually purchased this one from a vendor I was trying to get my hands on this watch within a 3-day period to be able to get this video out to you guys, since it's been a minute since I put out a video. I did not go through Steeldive this time. I went through a supplier on eBay. And, I'd rather go through Steeldive because I kind of want to create that relationship with Steeldive. And not to mention that they typically throw in a free strap. But I just didn't have time to wait on the watch. Now, my next watch is coming, which is the Captain Willer. I do have that watch. That watch is coming soon. So I am going to be doing a review on that one for you guys. In terms of Pilot watches, I just recently started getting into Pilot watches, and they really, really catch my attention. I just haven't really pulled the trigger on any because they tend to be bigger on the 43, 44 millimeter side. And I like that Steeldive did their iteration of a Pilot watch, but went with a 39 millimeter, which is more along the lines of the size that I like to wear. And if you're on that same boat, you like the aesthetics of a Pilot watch, but don't want something that's going to be in that 44, 45 millimeter category, then you're probably going to want to pick one of these up. As far as price goes, I believe you can get this from Steeldive for roughly around $100 bucks, something of that nature, and plus an additional between $5 to $20 in shipping. It depends on what promos they're running right now. My last watch that I picked up, I was able to get it for $5 shipping through DHL. So, and this was a couple of days as of filming this video. So, if you are interested in picking one of these up, I'll put the link in the description below. I do not have an affiliate with Steeldive yet, at least. But if you are interested in picking one of these up, I'll still put that in the link in the description below. But yeah, there you have it, guys. Again, this has a thumbs up in my book. I think this is a good buy. I'll give you guys a loom shot of this and show you guys what that looks like. The loom on this is spectacular. That C3, that Swiss C3 loom, it's a green loom. And some people have negatives, a negative thought about this Lum and how it's, let me wipe this down, and how the Lum is, if you look, the indices tend to have this greenish hue, kind of yellowish cream tone to it, whatever. But this Invicta does as well. And I like that because it gives it a more vintage vibe to the watch. And so does their Steeldive Homage Homage as well. This one's a little more subtle. And I think I like the way this one looks a little better than this one. But nonetheless, I'm happy with it. So yeah, guys, this definitely is something you should add to your collection. I think Steeldive did a fantastic job with this watch. The finish, the overall watch is it's just a good watch in my books. I've been rocking this for about a week and a half to 2 weeks now. It's been kind of hard to take off. It really has. Even though it's been a toss-up between this one and this one. You know, I really, really like this watch. This is a beautiful, beautiful executed watch right here. This diver is, in my opinion, one of the best ones. And again, I'll have that review up if you haven't already watched that review. I think that review shed a lot of light on why I think this is a great watch. But yeah, guys, stay tuned for my next review coming up. Again, that's going to be on the Steeldive Captain Willer. I think that's... you know, there's a few reviews out there on that watch, and hopefully I can do something a little bit different from you guys and a little bit different for you guys, and you guys can enjoy the content that's soon to be coming out of this channel. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Follow me over on Instagram, WatchLive777 if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon so you're notified as these videos come out. Please drop a comment on a like and a comment on the video, as it does help the channel. Once again, appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Till the next one.